we get more plays, both sides, more defenses, more offensive plays, or the pace of practice is increased. So a lot of communication that needs to get cleaned up. But we're doing a fair amount of 11 on 11, so there's always something. Guys are great energy, which you'd expect, but we're in helmets and spiders, so it's not the real thing yet.
And so when you get this perfect weather like this, that add to the
yeah, it's great. It's good. Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of this game. I mean, there's so many variables, and the ones that we can't control, like, can't worry about it. We got to figure out. We got to find a way. So today was a great example of that. Get a little weather, wet ball mechanics, and feet underneath you on defense. Good teaching there.
Is there a strategy with how you're going to work with Jade and Byron, distributing carries, or a different type of style?
They're going to get reps, a lot of reps. Everybody in this spring is going to get ample reps, but right now it's finding comfort in the offense, their rules, still working mechanics and cuts and all those things, catching the ball out of the backfield, but there's not a we don't change them by the play.
Fernando's obviously got a chance to get a lot of reps this spring. Does that change his trajectory and his development? Can you see his strides that he's making?
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime anybody gets a lot of repetitions, you see improvement. Now it's a matter of how much, and I think Fernando, he's a very eager guy. It matters to him. He cares about football, so he'll continue to improve. He's still a young guy, but I think anybody. There's so much you can do in the meeting rooms and a walkthrough, but you got to get out and play. Whether it's individual periods, team 7-on, or team periods, that's how you really learn.
Even though he wouldn't be known as a dual threat guy, he did seem to have some decent wheels on a couple of plays out there.
Yeah, Fernando has good feet. He can move. Are there faster quarterbacks? Yeah. Are there slower quarterbacks? Certainly. So I think and our job as coaches is always whoever the player is to give them the best chance to be successful. And Coach Spav has worked with a number of different styles of quarterbacks in his time as offensive coordinator. So right now it's just all these guys need more reps than we even have. So that's what it's about.
How different are the expectations for the defense, considering the offense is kind of being installed and all that?
Yeah, I mean, the expectation is that we get better as a team so we can win more games. And how do we do that? Well, each player's got something they can do. Each unit's got something to work on. So I don't think that changes. We'll adjust schematically a little bit, just like we do each and every year. We're doing the same thing this year. Whether or not it's a brand new system like we have on offense or on defense where there's a lot of familiar terms, but there's tweaks to that system. So that's what we're going through right now. The expectation of how they come out and practice, how hard they work, the attention to detail in meetings and walkthroughs, that's critical. And then we got to see measured improvement on the field by the individual players and the unit.
There's been a trend to get guys in early at the mid-year point. How has that changed what you're able to accomplish during the spring?
Yeah, you get a head start. You're talking about like high school players.
And even transfers coming in at mid-year point and getting a head start.
It's a huge advantage. I mean, anytime they're in your system, not only strength and conditioning, being around the players, the expectations of how we operate, and then the meeting time, the walkthroughs, and the spring practice, summer workouts, I mean, that's invaluable. So it's something we evaluate when we're recruiting either transfers or high school players. More transfers, but even high school players, the earlier they're able to be here, the better.
Justin, you've had a lot of D-line. Can you make any real evaluations of where you're at that position?
Yeah, the guys that are practicing, you bet. So all the guys that are able to practice, we get great evaluations on. And then the guys that aren't practicing, they're between them and the sports med and the return to play folks, it's how fast can they get back. But there's a lot of guys that need work, and Coach Browning's working the heck out of them.
Sure. Pretty early, but is there anybody that you've seen so far that you're pleased with?
Kind of hard to say. Their effort and intensity has been good, but it should be on day 2. So, maybe next week or the week following, I'll have a little more for you.
One of the things I noticed when the O-line was doing their individual drills, they were pulling the tackles and hitting different gaps, trying to get to that, that second level. I mean, how have they taken to some new roles and new things that they might be doing for the offense?
They're doing well. I mean, again, just a new system. We'll ask them to do different things. There's maybe a different emphasis on some of the run schemes and the pass blocking. Again, they're day 2. They're eager. Effort's really good. Attention to the meeting's been good. The group wants to do well, and that's a big part of this. And now we got to, take the steps physically, mentally in order to play better. But Coach Blesh, really, really good coach, and yeah, they're being asked to do a couple new different things, but they've done a nice job thus far.
It's still early, but what have you seen from Ramsey and Brown as they continue to develop and the tail end of their freshman year?
They just need, they need every bit of weight room, meeting, walkthrough, practice they can get. They're just young and got a lot of room for improvement. And again, playing offensive line, there's the physical traits that you need, and then the mentality and the perseverance to line up every play and battle. And that's a unique mentality that not everybody has. And I think those guys are learning what it takes. And then while they're learning that mentality, they're also learning and trying to refine techniques in order to be a good player, because it's not just about being big, and having some physical traits. You got to learn to play that position, and Mike's doing a good job with them, and we just need them to pour into it. That's what we need.
Coach Blesh is working that kind of cross-training, getting guys maybe able to play different positions. How important is that up front?
Yeah, I think it's important at that position, really a number of positions, because I think we've talked about this before. Just because a guy is second on the depth chart at tackle, if he's not your 6th best player, you don't want to put him in just because he's the 2 at that position. So you always want to have your best players on the field, and the way that you do that is be able to cross-train people. So it's very important. And they've just learned, I think conceptually, they see the big picture that way.
Talking about what Brett Johnson's been through.
Man,
2+ years.
Yeah, pretty unique. 2 significant injuries back-to-back that cost him 2 seasons. And Brett loves football. He works extremely hard at it, and he is. We've talked about this before. Brett, when it comes to physical, mental, emotional toughness, and you roll those all into one, he's up there now. People can bounce back. People bounce back from injuries, and that's part of football and kind of part of life, is that perseverance. But to go through what he's gone through and his attitude towards it, and he really just not a guy that gets phased very easily. So I have no doubt that Brett will come back the best he possibly can, because of that combination of physical toughness, mental toughness, emotional toughness, because those are significant injuries, and it can take a toll on folks. But he's a pretty unique guy.
And the physical part, obviously, you've got the rehab and all that stuff. But the mental part, dealing with the second straight loss season. By the time you guys play on September 2nd, it'll be 1,001 days since his last game. That's just mind-blowing.
It is. And
his abilities to handle that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, some guys maybe not. Quite a few people would have a real hard time bouncing back from something like that. But he is he's just wired different. It's the best I could put it.
Nolan is a guy that has a lot of experience, and he had his first interception in the spring. What have you seen in him?
Guy that he's played. He looks pretty comfortable out there. Semantics and refining techniques are big. He's still got room to get better. But really like his attitude. Since he's come in, it's been a short time now, but since he's been here, he's been very, very professional about how he's gone about his business, workouts, meetings, walkthroughs, and then practice. There's some things we obviously got to get better at and clean up, and some habits, but so far, in a short time, he's done a nice job.
We're supposed to talk to Sam. What stood out to you about just his personality and maybe his approach outside of what he does out on the field?
Sam, he's a pretty quiet guy. He goes about his business. He's likable, kind of easy to talk to, but doesn't say a whole lot. I think it's a transition. He's coming in new at that position, and so I think he's done a nice job of just kind of diving into the team, getting to know guys, and then working his way through winter workouts. And he's still a young player. It's not like he's a 5th or 6th year guy. I mean, he's still a young player, but he's sharp. He's a sharp guy. Football makes sense to him. You can tell that, but just still a lot of room to grow and develop. But he does have some unique tools at that position, and he's a sharp kid.
Thank you.
One of the surprises when we look at the roster is Hunter Barth's position change.
Yep.
What went into the decision?
In meeting with Hunter and kind of watching his development the last couple of years, we felt like it was his best opportunity as a football player to move forward. So we talked with him about it. And he's got good size and he can run and he's physical. So we've had in the past we've had some guys that have made similar position changes, and it's been very productive for them and for the team. So we felt the same in this case.